I don't want to live forever. That to me doesn't seem enticing. I am not caring so much about how many years I live. I want the quality of those years. We get to be on the cutting edge of this world, which is gnarly and super fun. And also it completely being a question mark as to, well, what is in the future? What is the future going to be when it comes to lifespan and what I actually more care about, which is healthspan?
Welcome to the Ivy League podcast, where I have powerful conversations while someone's locked in for 30 to 45 minutes, supercharging their biology with an IV. This is where I've handpicked the most interesting people, elite minds, athletes, innovators, and pioneers chasing excellence. We unpack all things human performance, recovery, and the science behind thriving. On today's episode, we've got Chris Dufay, a long-term friend of mine, father of four, and a man I've never seen under 10% body fat. He's a successful businessman, coach, and all-round top human. Since the day I met him, he's embodied discipline, balance, and what it truly means to live optimized. I'm Ben White, host and founder of Human Plus. Let's get into it. Chris Dufay, welcome to the Human Exchange.
Thank you, brother.
I think that's what we're going to call it.
Well, we can maybe edit that out.
We're here now, but yeah, it's iconic that you're one of the first guests on this podcast, as Chris is a dear friend of mine, and we got close during COVID when we were both here in Bali, and we set up a ritual of Tuesday night dinners at the infamous Motion Cafe, which lasted more than 3 years. And then since then, Chris moved back to Australia, but he's in Bali for at least 3 months of the year, and we pick that straight back up every time we
could tell the full story. So we got introduced from a mutual friend, and our first occasion together, I'd never seen someone eat so many desserts out of a dessert cabinet, and I was like instantly like, I love this man, brilliant, love this, something very deco. And then the next time we ran into each other was randomly at Ammo Spa Sauna.
That's right.
And we didn't know, and it was like randomly, I think we we're both like, I know you from somewhere. And then we connected the dots that we actually had lunch together at the Gold Coast one time. And then the friendship formed from there.
Yeah, that's right. I actually forgot about that first little bit.
Right.
We were speaking in the saunas and everyone was around. Someone sparked another thing and they were like, you turned around. I was like, that's where I know you from.
You were talking to someone about something, and then it just like the dots connected for me, and I was like, "Oh, we've had lunch together." Like, yeah, that's super funny.
And yeah, well, now I know you as one of my closest friends. You're also jumped in as CEO of this company with me to write it out, Human Plus, which has been amazing. I think we trialed it for 3 months. We're at the end of our 3 months now.
Oh, dude, it's been amazing. Like, friendship wise, you're a dear brother, and I appreciate you and respect you. And then, yeah, when the opportunity came up and we were talking about doing me coming in as part of Human Plus, it was like, yeah, like this feels right. And it's such an amazing opportunity for us to build something that I feel like is really good work for the world, like really helping people as well. And then doing that along with such a great friend is like, yeah, it was the stars aligned.
Yeah, I think the thing that I love most about doing this with you and doing Human Plus is like, we are the ideal customer in the sense with all of this stuff we're experimenting with doing and cultivating and building is our dreams of what we would want to do and have available for ourselves, gifted to everyone else.
I think it's such an interesting part when it comes to entrepreneurship and business in and of itself. Like for me, business is a profitable idea and execution that helps other people. Like that's all it is at the end of the day. And so either someone starts a business because they have solved a problem for themselves, or like they're scratching their own itch, and that's all we're doing. Like here, like we would be doing this whether it was us running this business or not. And I think that's where we led into this, because we were doing this no matter what on a day-by-day basis. And we wanted to actually learn more, do more, have more, and to be able to figure out how to better do this as well. Because I don't know about you, but I see a lot of other people doing the things such as IVs and peptides and biohacking and longevity and all of these other mechanisms to hopefully one, have a better life, and they're just not doing it to the standard that I and we would want them to be able to do it. So we had to step in and do it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also, when you ask yourself, like, what's the things you want to do with your life? And it's like the direction of biohacking, biology, AI, and science is moving so fast. It's like, this is exactly the place that I want to be situated in and positioned, because you're on the forefront of this innovation of things come up which affect your biology, which has you to have a much better experience, a longer, healthier life with your family. So yeah, I'm excited for everything that's coming from this and what's moving towards in the realms of like what's being unveiled in longevity and biohacking and medicine in general. It's insane, and AI has definitely been a catalyst for expelling that at a rapid rate.
Yeah, and we get to be on the cutting edge of this world, which is gnarly and super fun, and also it completely being a question mark as to, well, what is in the future? Like, and us getting to be a part of that conversation of what is the future going to be when it comes to lifespan, and what I actually more care about, which is health span as well. Like, I don't just want to live longer. I want to live with better quality on a day-to-day level as well. And so for us to be able to do that and to be able to share that with other people, I think is really cool. And it's also interesting because this world is evolving so quickly. I think a lot of the things that were taboo, such as like peptides, I've been using peptides for 8-9 years now, and it was completely taboo. It was completely like underground when I first started getting into it and learning about it and using it. And it was something that I could not talk about during, and for legality issues as well. And so that's where it's like, now I have older dudes coming up to me randomly at the gym wanting to talking about peptide protocols and how they're best going to be able to use it for themselves. And I just think that's really cool that we're able to help these people do that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into this longevity and where we think it's going. But before that, I want to touch on how I know you in the sense of amazing friend, father of 4 beautiful daughters, an expert in his field at marketing and funnels. How would you describe yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. I guess it depends how philosophical and spiritual I want to get. I guess brass tacks, I'm a man enjoying the evolution and journey of life unfolding with myself. I'm at a point now where I have never felt this sense of groundedness and confidence and steadfastness within myself. And you have seen doing behind the scenes of this journey for many years now of me figuring my shit out and learning and growing, and me being able to have peace within myself and being able to work through all of the shit that I've had to work through to come to this. And to me to be now like business wise, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually really good at what I do in this world of business in where I operate. And it's interesting as well, because going from like friendship to business, you've seen a different side of me. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to business, because when it comes to business, there is a certain level of, how do I nicely say it? Decisiveness in which I want to be able to operate from. And then me being CEO, my duty is to protect the company. That's what I came in. I said to you, my duty is going to be this. I'm going to have hard conversations. I'm going to say shit that you're not going to like, but like it's in the betterment of all of us doing this together. And so there is different elements to me. There is me being the father to my 4 daughters, which I just adore and love so much. There's me being married to my wife, Lauren. There's me being a friend. There's me being the entrepreneur. There's me just being the guy that honestly, I'm just figuring my shit out along this way.
You mentioned something at dinner last week where you said you're at a place now where you've found this peace, and it's so joyful and beautiful to be in at this point in your life. And I know from us talking during COVID and all these things going on, Chris had a transition where he sold his company and then was kind of like, all right, what now? There's like a a death and a reinvention, and then you kind of sit in the space like, all right, what do I want to do with my life now? And then to hear you come out on the other side of that, it's like, man, I'm actually in a really beautiful state of peace. Because I know during that journey, like myself, been in it, like searching for everything. It's all right, I'm gonna go to the Amazon. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like there's all these different soul searching things we kind of do in, I guess, new age healing. But it's it's beautiful to hear this is where you're at now.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And there is, like, I just wrote an essay the other day, and I do my best thinking through writing because it concises my thinking down. And looking back through it all, I even just recently wrote where it was like, my therapist said to me, you didn't know what to do with the freedom that you created for yourself. Like, freedom is one of the key values and words that I will use within myself. And I have different takes on that. But when it came to it, I built financial freedom through the vehicle of becoming pretty good at business. But then when I actually had that freedom, I was scared and I ran away and I ran back to building more businesses. Right. And I didn't sit in the void. I didn't sit in the space that, looking back to, I don't want to use the word should have, but could have sat in. But I went back into, and that was my journey. So I went back into, I built multiple other businesses. I've done other things. And it was all like, the problem was I was good and it was winning. Like each venture was like winning, and then the next one was winning, the next one was winning, until I got to a point one didn't win. And that was just like, oh my God, it was almost like, oh, I'm mortal. Like, this is not right. And it shook me to the core, and it got me to eventually figure my stuff out, because when it really came down to it, I was like, oh, like, I'm looking at life all wrong. I'm having a problem with having a problem. I'm expecting life to always be good. And I wasn't able to properly ride those waves of life. And for me, there's just a sense of equanimity and peace of being able to be like, yeah, I'll handle whatever unfolds for me, and looking forward to it.
I'm into that. You said before about writing. Lately, I haven't been writing as much as I was before, because AI has just kind of made it so easy to just sort of dictate what you want to say. But I always found writing to be the way that I put together and process the world. It's like, I have all these experiences that are happening inside my head, and they're just like up there. But once I put it into word and onto paper, then it creates story and it creates meaning, and I'm able to get complete understanding of who I am, what that experience was, and how I choose to believe the lessons and the stories that I want to create for my life. Makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I think the best personal development book ever is someone's journal. There is something between having the thoughts in your head and the writing process where you can have this bullshit detector ping and be like, no, that's not true. Like, you can work through your truths and be able to have the conversations with yourself to be able to get clarity so much easier. And to your point as well, like, one of my favorite quotes from Pablo Picasso is, the world is not made of atoms, it's made of stories.
Yeah.
And that's just so true. It's like, what's the story that we're telling ourselves?
I think I've got written on my whiteboard, what story am I telling myself today? Because it's literally how I'm putting together the world. Hey, Fabi, what are we putting in here?
It's vitamin C, zinc, collagen. Yeah.
What else?
Vitamin B, and this is glutathione.
This is our all-in IV, which is our best IV, which kind of...
This is our bestseller.
It's our bestseller? And for me, it's the best IV. It's the one it's my go-to all the time. I guess if someone met you today for the first time, what's one thing they wouldn't guess about you?
They wouldn't guess?
Yeah, what's one thing they'd never guessed about your story?
Oh, that's interesting. The feedback that I get is I'm a bit of a Trojan horse, where the outside and the inside don't match on first glance. On the outside, you see some ugly, bearded, tattooed meathead, and people will make an observation about that. And I'm actually totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Because what I have found is I can almost Trojan horse people because they'll make an assumption on the look, the cover of the book. But then when we start the conversation, my words will radically change what their initial thoughts were. And I've probably in the last week from coming back here, I've had 2 other people say exactly that to me. They're like, oh, when I first met you, I thought X, but then when we started talking, now I thought Y. And I was like, oh, like, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And for me, the why, like when they say like what people may not think on first glance, I think is just the depth and the introspection and hopefully the kindness and love that comes from me. So that's always been something interesting because I think, I don't know, the way that I feel on the inside to probably the way that I look on the outside are very different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because you are probably one of the most compassionate and soft delivering in your articulation and manner men of character that I think I know. And I think that goes to a testament as like having the meaning I give it. I was like, he's got 4 daughters. So I don't have any kids yet, but I have a few friends that do. And it's like every daughter they've had just softened them and just like opened them up to a new version and domain of love that just didn't have existence before. And I think you're excellent in the way you deliver and communicate in such a masculine but soft and welcoming approach.
I really appreciate that. 2 things come to me when you say that. One of the phrases or philosophies in which I try and actually lead my life from come to the Dalai Lama, which is meet everybody like they're an old friend. And that just always resonated with me to be like, imagine always meeting each person and having that energy like they're an old friend. Like, and just how different that transpires through every interaction in life. And the second part is it has been so interesting having these 4 girls come into my life and just how much it has done good. Like whenever someone's like, you've got 4 daughters, they just like lose their mind. And they're like trying to figure out how do you live? How do you do what you do? But within saying that, one of the things in which I think is I know my children will not learn from what I say, they learn from what I do. And so therefore, one of the frames in which I have that for myself is I need to be the man that they marry, right? So I'm setting the standard for the men that they will have in their life, and they will only come from how I show up. So therefore, that is the benchmark in which I set for myself every day.
Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah, I wonder, they always say like a child's first love, a daughter's first love is their father. Who's phone? Oh, it's you. She has this thing where she does 11. Was that every hour or something? She had to do push-ups? Just 11.
But now I'm praying.
Very good. So you're not doing push-ups anymore?
I do the ball.
Oh, you get down and give me 10.
Yeah, shift gears.
Yeah.
I think we've had a touch base on this maybe over Instagram, but there's a lot of talk now around the possibility of us living over 120 up to 250 years and potentially beyond with the evolution of science, AI, and longevity. What's your thoughts on this? What would it look like if you were to sit in the space of being like, I'm actually going to live a minimum of 120 healthy years?
There are so many thoughts that come into my head. The first one will be, I am not caring so much about how many years I live. I want the quality of those years. So the first word I will reframe is I will go from lifespan to health span. And so therefore, how do I have the best health for me to be able to be who I want to be in this. So I'm 38 right now. How do I be the best 38-year-old I am now? I think having children helps because it kind of frames different stages of my life as well. Now, okay, like when I'm a grandfather, how do I want to be as a grandfather? I want to be a yoked, in shape, super fun, playful grandfather. And when it's further on, what do I look like in my 70s, in my 80s? Okay, now after that, it's like, well, it's hard because we've not had the role models to be like, well, what's a really amazing 90-year-old, 100-year-old, 110-year-old? Like, that's where it's like, it gets a little blurry for me right there. So for me, I'm like, all right, I care more about the health span than the lifespan as well. I'm also probably now as well a little bit more at peace where I don't want to live forever. Like I'm not that to me doesn't seem enticing either. So I'm not one of those people that being like, I want to freeze myself or like doing like, and I've never really grasped the question of like, do I want to live to 120? Like, do I? I don't know.
It's an interesting one to wrestle with. I personally don't think I'd want to live more than 120, but I don't know. Once I get there, maybe it'll be different. But the idea of knowing I could live to 120 healthy years, or maybe to 110 healthy in the last 10 or a decade, I don't know, just makes me think, all right, what are the different identities and versions of me that get to come forward from that? Do I dedicate 20 years to trying to become an astronaut? Like, there's so many options. I have time, so what do I want to create with it?
That's the question that I'm more interested in. Being like, okay, so we're going to live, do you mean so many decades longer? Well, then let me think of my life right now. Okay, well, what's the work that I want to do? Okay, well, that radically changes it because, like I want to do different things with my work and the value that I can provide for this world. Marriage. Well, shit, are marriages, do they last that long? Like, okay, wow, never been married for someone, do mean for like that many years. I'm already married 13 years right now. So that's interesting. Does that mean I am then a great, great, great grandfather? Do we? If I'm living to 120 years old?
Your claim would be pretty big because if all your daughters have 3 kids each,
I know, like that
come up to 12 like instantly.
I'm actually really looking forward to that. And it's something that I kind of envision about, wow, imagine when my children have their children and I can have that family around. Like that's something that fills me with joy thinking about. I very luckily was able to spend time with my great grandmother in Chile a couple of months actually before she passed away. And I thought that was amazing, being like so many generations being able to be together. So yeah, when it comes to being 120, I think for me, it's more enticing to think of how do I have really great health during those years and be able to enjoy those years as much as possible. Then it's well, who can I be and what are the identities that I have throughout that extended period of time?
Yeah. I mean, another deeper question or two, if you think about what life would be like now from 120 compared to what it has been like, even the growth and development of, I think our generation is the last generation that had the contrast of both before digital taking over, like we went to school without phones and then it kind of introduced phones and then they went to smartphones and iPods, and what is it going to look like in 120 years? You said like, what will I do for work? But a lot of these things, a lot of jobs might not even be available or useful anymore. And I wonder if we are able to flick a switch and they've created a pill or something that helps you regenerate your organs, your cells, your skin, everything, and you can choose to live to over 120. Do you think we're ready for that as humans?
I think so. I think that's where technology can go faster than our emotional and spiritual ability.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to ponder on. And then the religious texts and things come into play where they're like, we're not meant to live that long. Are we meddling with?
But also, like, there's such and again, this is how deep you want to go spiritual with it, but it's like there is such an identification with the I, the me in that. I believe that I am more than just what is here right now in this physical presence. So when I die and leave this earth, I do believe there is something else that's going on after this. So for me, it's, am I trying to have this iron-like grip onto this sense of identity until I'm 100, 110, 120 years old? Or am I able to release that grip and be like, do you mean there's more to this than just what my physical senses are picking up right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I hear you on the I think I've been on a bit of a deep Christian journey exploration lately, and it's really about humbling and denying the flesh and putting God before you. And I really wonder if automation takes over the way it's heading in the direction in 30 years time, like not even that long, maybe 5 or 10 years time, a lot of jobs just become obsolete and we have a lot more spare time on our hands, and maybe AI is possible to create money for people and there's a lot more wealth. Does that turn more people towards naturalisms and God and like, just, all right, I don't have to do these things now. I can spend more time in nature doing the things that I love and build a connection with God? I pray that might be the...
That's the interesting question for me, because I even think I was listening to Vishen Lakhiani not that long ago, the owner of Mind Valley, and he was talking about, do you mean like universal basic income will be something that will eventually have to be? And it's also interesting because, say, from my aspect, okay, I built and sold a company, I created financial freedom, and that space is unnerving because you have to face aspects of yourself that you could have been pushing down because of your busyness and distraction with these other things such as work. So if you're just like, hey, you don't have to work anymore, you just wake up in the morning and you're like, what do I want to do with myself? I think for a lot of people, that's a really big void to have to face, and to be like, well, what do I want to do with myself? And I think that is where then you have to look at, well, there is almost a sense of self-transcendence that you need to be able to come to be like, well, what is my purpose then? What is the meaning in life for me to be able to bring about if I'm not having to be distracted with work? That's a cool question.
I mean, I think we're designed to kind of work, and I think I've sat in spaces where I didn't have any responsibility for lengthy periods of time, and I just kind of loved it in the beginning. I got up, did whatever I want. I was kind of just filling my day, but then I also felt empty in that void of being like, man, I feel like I need to search for some meaning, and I found great purpose and meaning when I'm actually building or creating something. Whether you go back to it, it's like, all right, well, now my garden is the thing that I need to keep in my house. I wake up in the morning and it's like, how do I make this right with my family? I think we'll always find these things to find purpose in, because I think a purposeless human is a dangerous quiet mind where the devil can kind of harbor in.
Yeah, like I think we want to be valuable. I think for me, not the purpose of life, I don't know the answer to that, but the purpose in life is to be valuable. And I don't know about you, but one of the most satisfying feelings that I will have in my life is being able to put my head on the pillow at the end of a day and being like, I really showed up today. Doing like, I really showed up for my daughters. I loved hard. I trained hard. I played hard. Like I did good. And that exhausted feeling of doing good work, I absolutely love. And I think there is that satisfaction. I try to take happiness out of my vocabulary because I think that it's not a useful word. But for me, the word that I'm going for, that warm, fuzzy feeling, is satisfaction. And so what brings me satisfaction? It's doing well. It's showing up present for the people in my life. And a part of that is creating value, and part of the creating value is through the work that I do. And that doesn't mean, I know for sure, as somebody that is doing happily grinded myself with work, I took that too far. So now that's where I'm finding doing peace in that equilibrium.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the same, the value, but the value in service while trying to be in a joyous state. And I think that equals to peace. And I think there's something, the best thing that I've ever done with money is the most rewarding thing. The satisfaction is to give it away and have some sort of value impact with it. Transcedes any toy or experience that I've ever bought to go on. But yeah, on that thread of the whole longevity thing, there's a lot of hype around Ozempic, peptides. What's your take on these? We've touched on it before. What's your top 3 that you've explored with that you would say move the needle the most?
Okay, so first question is like, what's my take on it all? I think there is a huge positivity to it. I think some things that could be a negative could be things such as outsourcing discipline, because I think there is an element of where discipline helps create character, and character therefore defines your life. And where people are finding shortcuts or crutches, yes, you could take Ozempic and lose weight, but are you losing out on the character development benefits on which that shortcut did not allow you to have? And that's, for me, I'm going to go train legs after this. I had a friend help point this out years ago, because I said something along the lines of, I'm about to go like thrash myself in a workout. And she was like, she questioned my wording. And I was like, oh, that's actually really smart of you. So now, and I truly do believe so, is I'm going to go strengthen my character. So when I say that, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right?
It's discipline, right?
Well, yeah, so this is where I'll go beyond, because I wrote something a little while ago and I was like, identity eats discipline for breakfast. However, discipline helps you build your identity, right? So I'm not going to go train right now because I'm disciplined. I don't believe that. I'm going to go train right now because that's my identity. That's what I do.
I identify as a fit person, fit and healthy human.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you remember the shirt that I had, like, hunters hunt, lovers love. Do you know what I mean? Like, so a healthy person does what healthy people do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's where choices such as food, right? Like, I will naturally gravitate to the foods that will nourish me rather than, you know, hitting a Big Mac, because that's who I am. And I don't have that conflict in me. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing out on, because when you build your identity, you then transcend that conflict and resistance to the, oh, but I really want to eat the cookie. No, like, it's just not even there. And so therefore, I think there are some things.
I don't see the cookie.
Yeah, well, true. And it's a case of being able to, I'm not going to use the word drugs because it's a poor word to use it, but these tools can have fantastic benefits to them, and I hope that they are used appropriately. And as someone that has guinea pigged myself with this stuff as well, like, you know, I've used peptides for many years. Was the science there with them? Not really. I tried to be as smart as possible through it. So I think there's some great benefits throughout them. I think especially in the world where, and again, this is why we brought blood work into what we do with Human Plus. Because if you don't have the blood work down with it, you're guessing.
Just throwing a dart in the dark.
You're like, oh, you're like, and it could be so easy. Someone watches an Instagram reel, reads a piece of news, gets into a conversation with a friend, and then there's something, they're like, oh, I want to take retatrutide. And we're like, oh, why? Do you know what I mean? And also, like, is that the smartest thing for you to do next? And I think there's a bit of help and there's a bit of education that needs to come around that space. So I think it is going to be a tremendous positive. I was just listening to, I forgot his name, the CEO that has Monjaro. Did you know that they did $8.1 billion in Q2 this year of sales with just that?
In the US only?
No, I think worldwide.
Wow.
But just for Monjaro, 8.2 billion in just Q2. Like, crazy. Like, really crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you in the part where you really lose the character that you get to build from actually being disciplined in your life rather than, it's like if you can't, I hate to say this, but it's like when I meet someone, I was like, if you haven't got a hold of the things that are slowly killing you and you're overeating and overindulging and you can't figure out how to look after this, it's like, how can I trust you to look after anything else if like this is the one thing that you need to value the most?
Oh, dude, shit, I've got so much to say on this. I'm going to riff. So let's use a couple of different examples for me to argue my point now. Lottery winners, right? So the vast majority of lottery winners will end up in a worse position financially, right, than rather than before they won all that money.
90-something%.
Why? Because they weren't the person that could hold that money and do what's needed with it, right? They didn't go through the trials and tribulations, the character development, the skill stacking needed for them to do what's needed with that money. So if I could take a pill and go from, I was really overweight, right? I was obese. I fucking hated myself. Wasn't good. If I could go back to that previous version of myself and say, hey, here's a pill, here's a single injection, you could take this and then you could look like this today. Would I want to do it? Would I advise him to do it? No, of course not.
Yeah.
Because I want you to go through what's needed to become the person as well. And I just think there's a lot that's getting missed out as well. There is that path for you to do it. And I think it's sad when people miss out on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, maybe there's a version of people that they can't actually access that, and this helps them with the kickstart. I don't know. There's something about, when I first started on peptides, I think I got introduced to them almost 9 years ago now. And I was just like, I don't want to stick a needle in myself. This is weird. It's like, I was like, I can't do it. Can't do it. And now as I understand them so much more deeper, it's so interesting that this branched chain of aminos and proteins are just going inside your body and they're like little messengers signaling your body to produce more red blood cells for healing, more human growth, more testosterone, whatever. Like there's so many different signatures to it. And then after you stop taking it, it just stops and kind of goes back to normal. Obviously, let your body regulate a little bit, but there's not any real issues with letting your body produce more of these things. And there's some people doing some interesting protocols that I've seen now doing like every second day or every third day, and just to sort of train their body to be actually just constantly produce more collagen or red blood cells and help me recover or sleep better. And our bodies can adapt and hopefully produce that long term. It's very interesting, the science behind or the biology behind how they actually work. It's fascinating.
It's so positive for us, and it's so interesting to me how it's bleeding into the mainstream, which I think is fantastic. Not as just someone that sells them and has a company behind it, but because it is actually doing good for people.
Whoa. We got 2 minutes left. That went quick. I think they just sped yours up a little bit. You have your kids now. They're all alpha generation, right?
Are they? Is that what they call
I
it?
think that's we looked it up the other day. I was like, what are the new ones? When does it start? I think anything.
Interesting.
Oh, I forgot. Over 2010?
Yeah, okay. So my youngest was born 2013.
Yeah. So they're probably too young to even realize what's their input on or impact on society is going to be. Or what do you think Gen Z's impact on society is going to be with everything shifting now, growing up immersed in tech world?
I don't know what it is, but I can just tell you that like the stuff that comes out of my daughter's mouths blows me away with their ability of awareness.
Yeah.
And consciousness for like the betterment of the world and the people around them. Like they say stuff and I was like, Jesus, I didn't even think I would have said that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think they're going to teach us a lot, like every generation.
It is miraculous. So I think there is a tremendous positive when it comes to that sort of stuff. What was the question of Gen Z?
Gen Z, like what do you think they're going to teach us?
I don't know, but I think the thing that comes to me is each generation is evolving from the next.
Mm.
And so my children should be, that's not the right word, they should be better than me,
Yeah.
right? Like we're supposed to grow and evolve. We're supposed to transcend and include.
I think socially they're like much more health conscious. They're not really a big drinking generation, kind of changing the way people want to socially interact. I think that's a big driver and push for this whole social wellness element. People are yearning for different ways to connect with people than what we've always had as like just food and beverage. So I think that's an interesting and kind of beautiful unfolding as like they're opening up the perspective and the idea of it to older generations. I was like, oh, yeah, you guys are hanging out and not drinking? And they're like, okay, let me try this. And then they're like, oh, wait, that was actually quite pleasant. And I go home and sleep good and wake up fine the next morning.
The drinking thing is a really fascinating part to me. Like, I mean, it's been, 12 years now since I've drank anything. And Laura was talking to me about this the other day, which I found really interesting. And so the concept of, let's say, like having people around to your house. Right? And so like, not like dinner parties, but like, hey, do you want to come over for dinner, for example?
Yeah.
Right? Now, what I feel like is so much more authentic and real is you come over to my house and I'm not going to spend 45 minutes cleaning the house before you come. I want you to come as it is because this is my natural state. Right? Now, if someone's ashamed of how their house is, well, then you've got to check yourself. But I want you to come naturally. And then also, do you mean like we cooked dinner together? And then you help clean the dishes and tidy everything away. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's like more to it when it comes to that communion and community of us being together, where it's like, I'm not trying to put a mask on with you being my friend. I want you to see the real raw and everything for me. So even in like that situation, it's like us coming together. Like we do this with our community doing in Noosa. It's like, people come around or we go around or it's someone's birthday or something like that. Everyone brings a dish. Doing this is like, and it's amazing because it's really good, nutritious, nourishing food.
You get to taste your friend's wife's really good cooking.
Yeah. And it's really great because it's also like everyone's just helping each other out as well. So there's no big burden of weight of like, oh my God, I've got these 10 people coming around. I'm going to have to cook for the whole day or anything like that as well. And I think there's also just a realness behind, I want you just to see me as well. And I don't have to put on some facade in this, do you mean, interaction that we have.
Yeah, it takes a big burden of the host for sure. I mean, I forget about all this now because I haven't really had to clean my house for
Well,
living here when it's
in Bali as well. We definitely don't deal with that sort of stuff. So that's been interesting transitioning back to the real world. But also it just not being as hard as people make it out to be either.
Yeah. I got going back to the longevity and what we're building and creating. What are you most excited about for Human Plus? Where do you see this going?
I think what we're truly doing with Human Plus is bringing people back to wholeness. I think we're helping them be the best versions of themselves. And to me, that's what lights me up, where like, people have asked me, like, what do you do? And a little whippy answer I might have had, especially with the last company I had, was like, I help white rich people get richer. That's what I did. Do you know what I mean? I was really good at helping them sell their stuff. I was a really good marketer. And then one day I was like, is this the greatest use of my skill and talents in the world? Am I truly leading the world behind a better place? And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love helping business owners and entrepreneurs build a business that truly gives them their life and everything back. And that's what we do. But with Human Plus, it's bringing them back to wholeness for them to actually truly enjoy their lives, to then show up, so that then the flow and effect is them doing their best work, being their best selves, that just ripples throughout the world. And I think that's one of the best things that we can do.
Yeah, I think you don't even know how good you can actually feel in life. And if you've never experienced what it means to get your biology in check and having your mitochondria and hormones balanced, and just being like, wow, this was available to me all the time, but I had no idea how to get there. Yeah, I think it's like you've been walking around with the blinkers on or shades over you. Rose-tinted glasses that weren't rose-tinted, they were dark.
Yeah. And I think that's the why, if someone comes and has their first IV, it's like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And it's like, yeah, guess what? You can feel like this all the time. And just that little crack in their belief system that can come from something like that can then get them to be like, I woke up at 4:30 this morning and I was like, good to go. I was like, I'm energized. I'm ready to rock and roll. Do you know what I mean? Had a quick meditation, got ready, started a meeting at 5 a.m. this morning, and I was just lit up from the very beginning. And that's the way that we should be.
Yeah.
And we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of feedback I get from friends is like, oh man, I really feel your IVs, your guys' IVs. It's like, and I know why that is, because there's a science behind what you can and can't mix within these bags. And a lot of other IV companies have just put in a crazy amount of cocktail mix into it, but it cancels out the other one and they don't mix well. Some compounds aren't meant to be. So there's a lot of thought process that goes into the ones that actually have most bioavailability and interact well with each other. And that's why when they have an IV from Human Plus, they're like, oh, wow, I actually felt the difference on this one. Whereas before, sometimes I just had them and I was like, is it just like a taboo thing? Am I going to placebo myself? But man, I'm wearing my Whoop. I got a better score. I slept so much deeper last night. Like, yeah, it's very interesting that when you actually do it right and get it down to a T, you really do notice a difference.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but the very first IV I did, this was years ago, and I was prepping for a competition as well. And my mate, dad, was a nurse, and he came around and bagged us up, right? And we had everything under the sun, and we were just pumping it into the bag. We had so much in there, dude. And I remember getting the vials, pulling everything out. Like it was vitamin C, glutathione, collagen. I remember putting taurine in it, carnitine in it. Like I remember there was so much in there as well. And I remember like passing out after it as well. I remember just like having to sleep, and I just slept the whole entire night after it. But that was my first experience with an IV. Don't know if I should actually admit that, but I did now.
Actually, I have a first experience with IVs too. It was, I think, 12 or 13 years ago in Vegas, and they had IVs for hangovers. And the girl I was dating at the time, her friend had the company, and I was just like, yeah, you can get IVs and they cure your hangover. I was like, yeah, bring it over. I think we had like 2 hours sleep. I remember just hanging it off a picture frame, off a clothes hanger. And I've got a photo of it too with my friend. And yeah, that was the first IV that I ever took, and I was like, wow, this is such an interesting thing. I was like, well, if they do this in Australia, like, yeah, everyone would love to do this. I would do this to feel better after a night out. But yeah, now I'm glad that's changed into, I'm not doing it as a Band-Aid response to destroying myself the night before.
The next like proper one I did was actually at Dave Asprey's in Venice, California. What was the name of the thing that he had there?
His Upgrade Labs?
Yeah, Upgrade Labs. I remember Ben Pikowski and I went in and we did an IV together at that Upgrade Lab in Venice, California. It's not there anymore because I remember going past and not seeing it. And I remember them like going there, having that experience, and then just being like, why isn't this more mainstream? Like, what is going on right now? And it was also such a great thing. Like, you know, I was with a mate, Ben, we sat down, we obviously had a great excuse to sit down and have a conversation with someone and being able to go through all of this and do something like this for our health. For me, it was like, this is weird that this isn't done more often and more frequently in culture.
Yeah, I think especially in today's day where food nutrition doesn't have the same properties of nutrients in it, and we take supplements, but sometimes they're not as bioavailable as what we can have doing one of these once a month, once every couple of weeks, if depending on how much you push the red line within your training and your business schedule. It's like I've just noticed such a difference when being able to sleep, just feel restored and actually wake up and just be on.
That's a really good point, because I think especially if somebody is a high driving, wanting to be high performing, and you're pushing that red line, like I'm training really hard, doing 6 days a week. I'm working, running multiple businesses. Like I'm trying to be the best father, the best husband. Like I'm pushing at everything. There is very little downtime in going on. Can I best show up in all of those areas of my life without doing this? I honestly don't think so. Like that's why we do these treatments, these protocols, and doing like we're constantly sending each other shit on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
We're seeing things like, oh, we should try this out. And there's a fun to it as well, but there is an element of even this aspect. As an entrepreneur, you need to be able to show up with a healthy state of mind, nervous system, and biology for you to function as best as you can. And I think if people are shortchanging themselves in those areas, they're literally losing money.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's the edge now that we get to share with other people that I've been doing for myself for the last better part of 8 years, on and off, as I discovered what they were doing, different protocols and liver detoxes with high dose vitamin C infusions, and now, sharing that with other people is like, hey, this is the edge that I've been using for the last years. I think I'll know the answer to your question for this, but it's a nice little prompt.
Yeah.
What's the best thing that money can't buy?
What do you think I was going to say?
Huh?
What do you think I was going to say?
I think it's going to land in family, having kids, or being friends with me.
What's the best thing money can't buy?
Looks like, what's the one thing money can never buy?
Yeah, I keep having the same answer come. I was trying to find a witty response, but I don't have. Do you want to answer it?
Go.
The best thing money can't buy would be peace of mind. I think it is the ability to trust oneself, and I'll say it even though I know I'm not all the way there, but truly love oneself is something that money cannot buy.
Yeah, I haven't seen that on the Tokopedia or Amazon, so yeah, I think I'll agree with you there.
Maybe I haven't earned enough money yet.
Speaking of, this just came to my mind. I don't know why. When I said about things I've never seen that on Amazon or Tokopedia.
Yeah.
When I was little, there was this, do you remember the paper called the Quokka in Australia? The Quokka was kind of like a newspaper, kind of like Craigslist, where people could just put things in to sell.
Yeah.
And somehow I found an ad in there that said, looking for someone to time travel with. And to this day, I've always been like, why didn't I inquire about this?
I wonder what they meant.
I wonder if they're still here.
Maybe they're in the past or in the future.
Or if it was just like one of those things where a friend is just like playing tricks on their friend.
If you thought we're just having heaps of psychedelics.
Did you see that ad in someone did this to I think their ex, it's Australian of course, but they put an advert up, and like I think it was like a $500 reward to whoever can do the best like Wookiee she's just getting all these calls, and it made it on the news. No shit. Hilarious.
I love that sense of humor.
I feel like Australia and England is probably the two places that you find it the most. Maybe South Africa too. They have a similar sense of humor.
I love it.